What makes Victorian staircases so iconic? Are they really worth restoring?
Well, we really didn't know what we were getting ourselves into when we first bought Chapline House and decided to convert it from a duplex into a single family home. And when I say we didn't know exactly what we were doing or getting ourselves into, I don't mean to suggest or imply that we are getting ourselves out over our skis too much or something like that. There will be some things that you will learn as you go along about the actual construction mechanisms and how to restore something like this staircase. It wasn't, in fact, just a matter of, oh, we'll knock down this wall, the staircase parts will be inside, and then we'll have a staircase again. And we didn't, maybe we did it over, sort of over imagine what would be there. But the point is, once we open up the wall, then we need to make some decisions based on what we have. And the timing of all of this stuff can be very slow, particularly when you're paying more attention to the accuracy in the restoration than you are simply getting a functional staircase. Because we're restoring the staircase, not just replacing it with something modern that looks good. Among other things, we need to keep in mind that the process, at least in order to qualify for tax credits with a building on the historical register, the process involves first trying to repair what's there, second, trying to replace it with salvage or other items that may not be original to the house, but they are original items. And then finally, if that is impractical, then you're allowed to reproduce the exact thing. Now, again, in that process, and I think when it comes to certain things like this trim, I think nowhere in that process does it mean just run off to the big box store and get some trim that's close enough and good enough. That's not really a restoration. Now you've modified it. And it may not seem like that big a deal, but really it is. Things have a certain look when they're built by craftsmen, and in order to recreate that look and get that sense of the history and the grandness of this thing, you can't cut corners. You can't simply say this little piece of trim will be good enough, because it won't. You will always know it's not, and I'm here to tell you that people will walk in and they may not be able to identify why, but they will know that it doesn't look correct. It looks modern, or it looks somehow unfinished. And so that was sort of the thing that we didn't really fully grasp. Since I need to put another coat of stain on these things, I will sort of review all of the various details and minutiae of the staircase restoration as I apply the stain. The staircase has this specific construction mechanism which involves having a stringer, a wall stringer, that sort of acts as both the wall stringer and the skirt board. It has the wedge-shaped piece routed out for the tread to fit into. Look at these treads on the original staircase. You can just see how they are worn from generations of feet climbing up and down the stairs. For me, it's some of the history of this upper staircase. And so one of the things I love about that is it represents a great template for what we're trying to do with the new staircase. This is the second coat of dark walnut. The recipe we've settled on is 3 coats of dark walnut and 1 coat of Sedona red. We are using the oil-based penetrating stain, and then that will be shellacked on top of that with a garnet colored shellac. Staircase parts. So stringer is the piece where the treads rest on, and it has, so it sets the height for the risers, and the width for the treads. Then you have the risers. The risers look like just flat pieces of wood. So usually they have some trim just below them. That is in fact what this trim is. This is the trim that goes underneath the bullnose of the stair tread and up against the riser to cover that hole. It also wraps around where the bullnose wraps around on the tread. The balusters, or pickets as they're sometimes called, are very often, or were in the Victorian times, were very often very fancy, and we have several different types. Some types, like this type, or the pin type, which is straight and has some decoration down here. The balusters we've selected for this have another, I don't know, zhuzh or something up at the top to make it just a little bit fancier. This original handrail here, again, worn smooth by decades and decades of hands running along it as people went up and down the stairs. There are several profiles, and due to the fact that there are several profiles where it goes into the cap that sits on top of the newel post, the handrail and cap are part of the same thing. In other words, the cap is handrail specific. This one is smooth and rounded at the top, and others have sort of an OG profile, and that profile has to match where it goes into the cap. The balusters, they either have a post, like a small dowel-sized round thing, or they have this wedge-shaped piece. In our case, most staircases have the wedge-shaped piece. In that case, the bullnose also serves a function of securing the baluster in against the tread. When they brought the bullnoses, they were longer than the original. If I hold them up together, you can see that this bullnose extends back towards the top of the staircase further than the original. So I've had them cut them down. Some of the original trim pieces below the tread, and this trim piece is the same profile as the ones we have had recreated. I'm going to stain these on all sides to match what was here. The reason that this is not usable, at least not for the part underneath the riser, is because it is the same length as the tread, which was too short since the wall moved. So if we need to, we can use some of these, and we will probably use a few of these underneath the short side of the tread, where it goes around and has a shorter bullnose, just to be historic and fun.